Hello and welcome to another episode of ZED Talks Leaguecast Fixes Champions. This week we will be talking about Samira, Sejuani, Senna, Seraphine, Sett, Shaco, Shen, Shyvana, Singed, and Sion. Joining me this week is Colton Blue Basket Sweat.
Hey, my last name ends the first letter of all these characters.
Yeah, you should be listed. I actually did forget about Seraphine when we were doing our pre-discussion thing, but Colton reminded me because there's so many fucking S characters.
Dude, there's so many.
Yeah, because there is 17, we are breaking them up and doing them in 2 different episodes. So this one we'll be doing the first 9 of them, and then we'll be doing the other 8 next month.
What if we move Shyvana to next month so that Nick can be there?
True.
I want to hear what he has to say.
He'll just complain. I don't think anyone wants to hear that.
True. Okay.
Should we just get started with Samira?
Yeah. Delete this character, and we're good.
I don't think there's too much, honestly, to change about her. Like, I think there's some core things. Like, I do like the stacking mechanic. I do like the melee ranged guns. I even don't mind the dash and the dash reset. I think there's no reason why she shouldn't just have a fucking regular-ass ult cooldown.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. Like, you can make it short, like, but did they change it? Didn't they give it, like, a 20-second cooldown now?
I think it's 8.
Oh, it's 8 seconds now?
Yeah, it used to be 3, and I'm pretty sure they've changed it to 8, but let me double check. I have it right here. It is 8 seconds.
Yeah, no, it should be like 35 seconds and then like drop 5 seconds for a takedown.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can use it at like, in a 1v1, like in a dumb fucking situation, and you don't get punished for it. Whereas like it's a strong enough ultimate that, especially combined with the collector, it's an ultimate that should be used as like a big cooldown. Like, we blew Samira ult, but now we blew Samira ult. Don't let her stack up again, or she'll use it again on us.
Yeah, she'll use her big game-changing ultimate again on us without. And I think that's the biggest thing is like you can avoid it, and she gets to do that. Whereas like on Katarina, for example, which I think is the most similar ult, it's like she only gets to do that if she gets 3 kills.
Yeah, and I also might be smoking Reefer, but I'm pretty sure that her passive lasts for 6 seconds. So if you're ulting, your ult lasts for, I think, 3 or something like that. Maybe it's not even 3, it might be 2.5 or something. You're still in S rank after your ult. So to ult again, all you have to do is maintain S rank for another 6 seconds.
Oh, God.
To use it. So it's not like it demotes you back to, like, 0 rank. You stay S rank, and I feel like that's also
problematic.
If it demoted you all the way back down, then like that would be okay with an 8-second cooldown, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you that if that is how it works, that's probably fucked. Aside from that, I think she's pretty fine. Like, she's a pretty new character. She's frustrating in some ways, but at the very least, I don't think you can really take a whole lot more away from her. I don't have a lot to say about Samira. I've not played much. Yeah,
I have a couple more things. It's, like, once again, I don't think there's anything we can rework for her. It's more like nerfing her into a character that we think would be better for the game. Like, the Nick Cooper is her Blade Whirl, her W, shouldn't do damage. It should do 1 point of damage for the passive stack, but there's no reason for it to do damage. My change for that ability is also, I don't think it should eat projectiles inside of it already. I think it should be the outer rim of your W is the wind wall type thing, and anything that hits that breaks, not anything inside of it. Like, it's very frustrating that I'm someone who abuses Samira. I have an 80 carry only account where like I play a bunch of Samira on it, and it's crazy that she can dash into melee range of characters and just use W, and they just can't use projectiles for like that 1 second.
Yeah, and like it's fucked that's how wind walls mostly work.
Yeah,
and how like projectile blocking abilities, aka Yasuo is the only other one who's got a real version of that, where it's just fucked that it bases it off like you and pops everything in it.
Yeah, it's frustrating for sure.
And even like
because
it pops the projectiles is the other thing, where if they just like couldn't hit her, I'd be so much more okay with it, where it's like, hey, she can make the Ashel not hit her, but maybe it still goes.
Yeah.
Right, where it's just like, it doesn't hit her.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
then
I
maybe
agree.
that might be fucked, but
Only other thing that I would like to see changed on her, and this is more of a League of Legends wide change, is there should be character specific hotkeys, not hotkeys, like keybinds and stuff. Because I've probably played with or against Samira 100+ games at this point, right? And I have yet to see a single Samira ever use her taunt coin toss ability, and I think it's because no one can control control 5 or control 4 or whatever the fuck taunt is in the middle of a fight. And I'm not saying it should be a combo. You shouldn't in the middle of a fight be able to use coin toss. But I mean, in situations where you're gonna kill this person, I've never seen someone ever use taunt to flip a coin at them for like the stack. And I feel like that should just be like I crushed you in this fight, so I'm gonna use coin to proc my S. Like,
wait, what? Describe this to me, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so her slash taunt is a very unique taunt in the game where she throws 1 gold from her. So like you lose 1 gold and you throw a gold at them and it hits them in the head, and it gives them 1 gold, but it gives you a like +1 rank, like B to A or A to S.
That's so dumb. Just get rid of that.
I mean, it's just like a goofy thing. It's never been used in the fucking ever. But like I just feel like that's something that would be used as like a BM fucking I just crushed you, I'm gonna flip a coin at you to proc S. If you could have character unique keybinds. But no one in the fucking world ever can, in the middle of a fight or in the middle of like a thing, go control 2 or whatever the fuck taunt is to like throw a coin at someone.
Yeah, I don't know. If anything, what I'd rather see it is like that you throw a coin at them, and like if you kill them in the next 10 seconds, you get like 5 gold back.
It's just a goofy thing. It's just like, once again, they put it in their kit. It's supposed to be a goofy fun thing, and I mean, you didn't even know it existed. Like, that's how little it's ever been used.
Yeah, I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah, it's just like a goofy thing, but I don't know. It's just once again, that's a systematic problem that League of Legends needs character specific keybinds, like every other game ever made.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Should we move on to our next character, which is Sejuani?
Yeah. Okay. I feel like Sejuani's pretty fine. I don't know how you feel, but
I'm a Sejuani hater, personally. Okay. I think she's super boring. I think a lot of her kit's boring. I think her passive is fucking boring as shit. Actually, I don't mind her kit, I guess. She's just a boring tank to me. Her ultimate is, I guess, problematic in the fact that if it's ever better than what it currently is, she's just OP in pro play, and that's always problematic for the game. But I don't think she's ever been really problematic in solo queue. She's always been like if she's good, she's OP in pro play type character.
Yeah, and like even if she's good in a solo queue, but I agree with you that she's not like a super fun character, but like she fills the role that she's supposed to really, really well, of like a easy to play and understand engage tank. I could definitely see the passive change, because I do think that that's like the weakest part of her.
Mm-hmm.
I think that everything else, like QWER, are pretty fine. I definitely think like you could adjust them, but I don't know. I feel like they work so cohesively together. I guess maybe you could try to move like her passive to be, anytime she hard CCs someone, she gets something special.
Yeah.
Whether that be a little bit extra damage to them, or like she steals some of their resists, maybe.
Yeah.
Or even if she just like gets resist, period. I don't know.
My main thing for her is that I would like, once again, maybe we're just dumb white men and we go, "Ooh, ice character, we should put brittle on them." But I do think she could use brittle. Like, I feel like she is a character that sounds like she could use brittle really well. Mm-hmm. Bristle and brittle, right?
Yeah, but like she literally encases you in ice.
Yeah. I don't know. It feels like that would be a good way of doing it. Like, I don't know if like maybe just her stacking thing that stuns, instead it could like stack, have a mini stun, but like apply brittle, so like any future CC is like more or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. Or even like you could make it so that her, like the second part for W could apply brittle. So you could even like, hey, you get your combo, you W, and then you E them because you get the empowered brittle stun.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just like yeet your ultimate at them, you don't get that.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, you can like set yourself up for like a better stun like later.
Yeah. I think honestly, just like the second part of W applying brittle would be fine. Or again, you could have something where like anytime she hard CCs something, she gets something back.
Yeah, I would like that. I do think like maybe it's just because ice characters seem like they should have brittle, but I think brittle is just a mechanic that all of us very much like, and we would like to see more of cool mechanics like that in a game.
Yeah, and it's just so much like I'm so much more okay with being CC'd forever because you're brittle rather than like having a 3-second Malzahar ult.
Yeah.
Right, if it's like, okay, they brittled you and then hit you with an Ash arrow, it's like, okay, well, they got me there. But if they just like flash Malzahar, you're like, fuck this dumb game. But yeah, I'm pretty fine with Sejuani as is.
Yeah,
So,
no, I think it's good.
Let's move on to Senna since we got so many S characters.
Yeah, I'll be a little quick on this.
So we talked a little bit last time on just the show that I think that they need to rework her passive a little bit in that, like, at 20 stacks range, 40 stacks, maybe they give you a ratio or, like, bonus healing, and then, like, 60 stacks range, 80 stacks an ability adjustment, 100 stacks range, and then, like, that's your last range modifier. Because infinite scaling range is fucked.
Yeah, I also have this idea that what if she's not a support? Doesn't that make her easier to balance, or am I smoking something? Because I feel like the main problem that we have is that she's a support is her primary role, I would say. Definitely, probably more so than AD carry. But she's supposed to scale into an AD carry type character. And I feel like that's so fucking problematic for the game, in my opinion. Like, I guess you could argue that there's support, like a lot of the AP, like say like Lux support or Xerath support or Vel'Koz support, like scale into mages, but that's very different than I think her scaling into a late game AD carry. Like there are games where a Senna scales into like a fucking menace of a character. Maybe like she could stay as support, but like we have to do something about her soul consumption by like doing fasting or like support Senna. Like I think it's fine for AD carries to like get ranged on souls or get armor pen on soul or get AD on souls, but like a support getting that is completely different in my opinion.
Yeah, it's odd, and I think the biggest issue is really more of the when you get to do the fasting or starving Senna. I would like to see again just the stacks moved more towards increasing the utility of your abilities, even if like they could make it a choice system, right? Where it's like, again, 20 stacks range, 40 stacks, choose your Q, W, or E to upgrade. And then, so on and so forth. So, like, at 120 stacks, you'll have upgraded all of your abilities. And at that point, like, if you hit 140, which isn't really going to happen very often at all, but, like, if you ever get to that point, then it's just, like, a flat damage increase or something. And I think that would be a lot better because then, like, if you want to play the AD carry Senna, maybe you upgrade the Q for damage. But, like, if you're a support Senna, maybe you upgrade the W for a longer CC or the E for more movement speed. And, like, hell, you could even make it where, like, they have different iterations where, like, I choose to upgrade my Q and my options are, like, I can make it heal more or damage more. And, like, W, I could, like, increase the range or I could increase the CC. Like, there's a lot of ways you could go about it that I think could push her into a healthier spot of support. But I think the biggest issue is just like infinite scaling range plus the amount of damage she can put out as a air quote support is not healthy. Like you shouldn't have a character not farm for the first 20 minutes of the game and out DPS the other AD carry.
Yeah, I was just looking through her patch history. She's only received nerfs since her release, with the exception of her AP ratios being increased. Obviously, trying to push her more into like a support type playstyle. It just, I really do think fasting. I mean, without a doubt, it's pretty obvious to say fasting is a problem. I think support could be a problem, but I don't think anyone's complaining about AD carry Senna. And I think moving her towards that with like a better stacking system or something would be probably better for the game.
Yeah, I also think you could go like all in on the AP ratios and just say like, hey, she's an 80 carry esque but with AP, and so it's again like now instead of stacking crit and then getting lifesteal, it's like, hey, for every 5 stacks you get 1 magic damage on hit, and then like you can give her all of these other things that scale on AP. But I think that doing that would then make the like, oh, Kraken Slayer Rageblade not really as busted, and maybe she's more of like a Nashor's Tooth Moonstone character.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think there's a lot of things you could do, but again, she's in a pretty okay spot. It's just the infinite stacking range can become a problem.
Yeah. Cool. Do we want to talk about Seraphine, the starry-eyed, what is it, songstress? What's her name? Songstress,
the starry-eyed songstress. What a fucking shit name.
You just call her K-pop girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I personally would like to see Seraphine being moved more towards like a middle lane mage, mid lane mage type character like she was intended. My only actual hard nerf that I actually want for this character is I think her ultimate should not should not extend through allies. I think throwing it through your team, like through 4 people on your team and extending it 4 times the range is a silly dumb mechanic that rewards like her playing like super backline. But I don't know. I would love to see her actually be a combo mage. I would love to see like better ratios for her Q, less ratios for her shield, and her less stun for her like, E. But I really do think that like she could be a cool mage where like her like you have these decisions that you have to make. Either I'm gonna go for a stun by like using my encored E, or go for more damage with my encored Q or whatever. But it really does feel like she just kind of sits around. Doesn't matter what the fuck you do. You usually just throw out your abilities to get an encored E, and then you just sit at the back of your team until they all line up, and then you hit a fucking global ranged R because it goes through everyone.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you there with the ulti range extension being just stupid. If anything, maybe have it be like you can bounce it off of an ally for a little bit of bonus, but yeah. I'd much rather have it be something like if it hits an enemy, it gets plus like 1 little brick and then it's over. But like again, it jumps off of every one of your allies and extends is just dumb.
It's crazy.
I'm with you that I'd rather see her pushed more towards mid, and I think honestly like take away the fucking heal shield W and give her a new W. And like if you want to make her mid, take away her fucking heal. And I don't think she needs it.
She doesn't, no.
Like you could do so many other things, even if it was just a shield, honestly, I think that would push her towards mid a lot more. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, lower the cooldowns, make it more of a choice how you choose which on-court ability to do. I can almost see her having, like, a similar to Nico W, where it's just, like, an on-hit passive and then, like, a small utility thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know what I'd replace it with, but, like, if you want to push her mid, it's, like, just take away her fucking heal.
Yeah, that would do it. Like, that would do wonders for it for sure. I think no matter what, she's gonna have a very strong ultimate. But once again, she has the wave clear to be a mid laner with her Q. It's just it feels like her heal and her stun have way too much power to not be a supportive type character.
Yeah, maybe they make her W like a silence or something, where she just like fucking screams at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cool. Let's talk about Sett. Sett is one of my actual favorite characters in the game that they've released in a long time. I think overall he's done extremely well. I think there are problems to his kit, partially being maybe his passive giving him gross health regen, especially in the early game.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think that is a systematic problem of how his W works, because his W, you have to take, so his W stacks up to a maximum of 50% of his health taken. So meaning if you want to use your max W, you've lost 50% of your HP, right? Which means your W is shit unless you have higher health regen or you're healthier more often, right? Which then leads them to like being like, fuck, we need to put health regen in his kit. They could also, though, just make it so it's like a lifesteal mechanic or a lifesteal on champions or something like that initiates this kind of brawler like heal up mentality rather than just lifesteal or health regen.
Yeah, other than just walk away and get a bunch of health regen. I'd much rather have it be that way where like you could put it on probably just like the on hit part of his passive where it's like, hey, stay in combat, keep fighting, your left hit, right hit, one of them heals you, and like it starts stacking up the longer you're in that brawl.
Yeah.
Right, where it's like the second hit maybe heals double the second time and then like triple, or right, like plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. I'd much rather see that. One thing that I dislike about him is that like he can go with the Blade of the Ruin King build, which that's just I think more of the item, but I would rather see Sett be more tank focused and like deal that percentage damage based on other things, but I think that's more of just like the item interaction and not really anything wrong with this kit.
Yeah, especially since you can like get one auto, then use your Q, and then get two more for like free, and that's a large percentage of current health damage that you're getting from Blade of the Ruin King.
It's wild.
But as for like overall abilities, though, I really like how he plays. Like his W, I guess, could be seen as like problematic, but I think it functions so well with the rest of his kit. I think his left arm, right arm thing is fucking brilliant for a brawler. I do sometimes get frustrated at support Sett, especially with the combination of Hex Flash with his Q and his E. That sometimes does feel like a gimmick type mechanic where I'm going to burn my flash and EU, and you have to burn your flash, but my flash is just worth less than your flash, so I just win level 1. And that's a little bit frustrating to play against, but I don't think that's him as an issue. I think that's a like Hex Flash issue, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a Hex Flash Nimbus Cloak issue.
Yeah.
The only other thing I would say, I would prefer to see the shield on his W come down and then refresh if you hit sweet spot.
Yeah.
Like, again, right, you could make it 60% of what it currently is, and you get it again if you hit sweet spot. Because it's just omega frustrating to, like, focus down a Sett, and then he just, like, presses W, gets 1,000 health shield, and walks away. And then gets his, like, billion health regen.
Yeah, and it even could decay slower if that was the case. Because like right now it's a quick decay. It starts decaying after 0.75 seconds, which does feel bad sometimes. But yeah, it does feel bad when he's no matter what going to get a huge shield because he has to use W at any point after he's taken 50% of damage, and he gets a massive shield. But yeah, I would love to see that come down if like it could be a larger shield if you hit sweet spot, but shorter if it isn't, and it could decay slower if that was the case. It would just feel better, I think, for both parties. Personally.
And again, you could even if we implemented that passive change, like, hey, hitting sweet spot adds 1 to your brawler stack or whatever, where it's like every auto attack again, or every hard CC adds a brawler stack. Like, I want him to be in the fight for a long time, because he's playing well, not because he has 120 base health regen and pressed W when 5 people were focusing him.
And I fucking love his ultimate. I love that his ultimate's based on like how big the target that he throws is. That's funny,
that's sick. And I think that's one of the things that I think could have interactions with size, because like currently the damage is based off of max HP, right? Of the target. Like, I've been on this boat, and I want it more and more as they've done things, but like, make character size matter for some abilities. And like, okay, if he ults you and you're big, like the radius of his stun gets bigger or something, or like the knockup is longer.
Yeah.
Because like I just think that would be so sick. Because like obviously if you ulti a Cho'Gath with like 8k health, it's gonna do a ton of damage. But like, right, even if they don't have a ton of health, but they like popped their gargoyles and they got big and they like got Lulu hugified, and it's like, lol, you fell for my trap. This stun is the size of Baron Pit now.
Yeah.
That could be so cool.
Yeah. Cool. Do we want to talk about Shaco next? I think Shaco is a little bit problematic, I would say, overall.
Yeah, he needs...
You definitely, like, play him a fair bit more than I do, because from my perspective, I actually like a lot of his kit. There are things I would like to implement to him. One thing that I would love, Colton, I don't think it works in League of Legends, but in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, there was a like online PvP game mode where it was a free-for-all where you're all playing assassins, right? And you get assassin targets, so you're in a big city and everyone just looks like regular people. But you're like, okay, I have to kill this person, and if you're higher up, like you're doing better, then more people have to kill you, and you still only have like one target, sort of thing. But one mechanic was you could get super stealthy kills by like if you walked up to someone and like poisoned them, they would die like 30 seconds later, but you get a huge bonus because it would be like super stealthy. Someone else could kill steal you. I would love for someone like Shaco to have some sort of mechanic where you could like poison someone, but not activate it till like later. And I don't know how that would ever work in League of Legends, but that would be so fucking cool.
Yeah, I think the only way you could really do that would be like if he had Jack-in-the-Boxes that worked more like Nidalee traps, where like you just step on them and it like marks you, but it just didn't tell you you've been marked. But then like his W would be just like a non-ability.
Yeah.
Outside of that, which like I'm with you that could be super cool. I just don't know how that they could actually do that in League. I guess you could make it like his passive, but again, then like you'd have to designate a target, and it would just feel shitty to be like, oh, he chose me, so now he just gets like 10% of my health for free.
I would love it if there's this is also like this might not even be a good Shaco mechanic, but now I'm just thinking about shit that they could that's kind of gimmicky and not good for the game but would be fun. I would love a mechanic where you do something to someone, like you're assassin, you like assassinate them and they start taking like heavy bleed damage or poison damage or whatever, and the way that they get the poison damage off is it highlights one of their abilities that they have to like hold, like stop and hold, and like cleanse that ability or whatever, right? So it's like a key that they have to press to like cleanse the poison. But like if you're in the middle of a fight, you can't just fucking cleanse it, like sort of thing, because you're distracted and shit. I just think something like that where it's like interactive, you have to be paying attention. If you're not paying attention, you get fucked, sort of thing, would be so cool in League of Legends.
Yeah. I mean,
and he's like the trickster type character that could do it. I don't think it's good for a game like League, but he's probably the one that could do something like that.
Yeah, with his backstab, if they built upon that and they maybe made it be like, you know, his critical hits apply like a bleed, and you have to maybe like stop for 1 second to cleanse the bleed.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I think that could be the way where it's like if you're trying to run away from him, he's just gonna fuck you up. So like you have to either stop to stand and fight or just die.
Yeah.
I think that could be interesting. As for his kit, like it's tough because I think he works and like he's in an okay spot currently, but I also think that he could benefit greatly from a like scrap everything and start over.
Oh, for sure. He could get a hard rework.
Yeah, he really could. And so that's where I would probably want to see him taken. Is in that like hard rework direction, where I think probably the only thing you keep is the ultimate, just because that's like so iconic.
See, I even think you could scrap the ultimate and like make it a weaker version, make it like a clone type thing, like for like a regular ability, like a long cooldown regular ability. Like I really think you could do whatever the fuck you want with. I think the only thing you would need to keep is like some semblance of like a blink invisibility to like hop around.
Yeah, I could see that. Maybe.
But yeah, it might be a little bit too grand for us, but I do think that he could just be reworked completely from the ground up.
Yeah, and it's something where, like, off the top of my head, I can't come up with, like, a cohesive kit. Because I'm thinking, like, what if his ultimate, if we're getting rid of the clone, I'm thinking of, like, Mordekaiser-esque ult, but it's like a hall of mirrors.
Yeah.
Right, where he just, like, spawns this fucking hall of mirrors in the middle of the thing, and he's just, like, can maybe, like, pop through it and, like, appear on, like, on any of the mirror surfaces he wants.
Yeah.
Like, that, oh, man, it could be so cool, but I think it would take more actual thought to do it right.
Yeah, he just needs to be, like, a goofy, like, come out of nowhere assassin, and, like, I do like the mind games part, but I do think the mind games of, like, knowing where to place boxes, getting them to run into boxes, which triggers them into other boxes, is just too much for a character in this game. Like it's great seeing like Pink Ward like play top lane Shaco and fucking have someone run into a box which fears them into another box, and then he kills them. But like, yeah, the average, like not even the average player, like people who are good at Shaco can't do shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, like challenger players who Shaco is their like number 2 pick probably don't do that.
Yeah, and I just think that like there's so much you could do with him. He's very boring overall though.
Man, I'm thinking now of like, what if he could like teleport to his boxes?
Yeah,
it would be like you'd have to balance it, obviously, but like I'm thinking of it kind of like Rek'Sai tunnels, but right where he's just like placing these boxes everywhere, and it's probably way less damage. But it's not only like, oh, hey, I got feared by the box, but like, Shaco might pop out, not just the box.
Yeah.
Like
that'd be fucking cool, actually.
That would be so cool. Maybe that's his ultimate, man. He transforms himself into a Jack in the Box and just sits in a bush and hopes.
I mean, his ultimate literally could be like a thing where he can move himself to Jack, like switch between Jack in the Boxes in an area. Like he can just sit inside of them.
Yeah,
and like that'd be. It's just so fun. Oh, there's so many cool things you can do with that character. I think.
Like you could make his ultimate that he just like select a Jack in the Box to teleport to, and then like if that Jack in the Box triggers on an enemy, like you get plus 10% damage on them or something, or like the fear is extended, or like it creates a bunch of them in the area or something. Yeah.
All I'm glad about, dude, is that we're not in fucking preseason 7 Shaco where his E had 5 base damage. Is the lowest base damage ability in the entire game with 5. But yeah, we're out of that era, which is nice.
For sure.
Cool. Do we want to talk about Shen?
Yeah. To me, Shen's another one that is pretty okay.
I think Shen's beautifully designed. I love the sword placement. I think a lot of people maybe don't like the sword placement thing, but like as someone who like tried to learn Shen for a season, holy fuck, dude, sword placement in lane and pulling it through people and figuring out when to pull it to your allies to use W to block autos and stuff. It's so fucking good. It's so well designed.
Yeah, I think Shen is like in a really good spot. So the only real thing I could think of is again like scrap everything and start over, which by no means do I think he needs, but like if we were to do it, I think like his only real strong identities are like he's a tank and he protects an ally globally.
Yeah, he's also like typically he's a split pusher character or a split pusher counter or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's honestly, if I was to like look at nerfs / buffs for the character, I think the only problem I have with him, and this is with all energy characters, I think energy is a not good mechanic in the game.
I agree. Yeah, energy's dumb.
It's double dipping on cooldown and like resource, I think, and it feels weird. It feels like you could make these characters cooldown only characters if you just tuned them better.
Yeah, no, I agree with you that energy in most cases feels like more of just a second cooldown bar than a resource. Where like on most, mana characters, it's like, hey, if I burn all of my shit clearing waves, eventually I'll run out of mana. But on energy characters, it's just like, oh man, I didn't combo right, so now I guess my ability's on cooldown until I get my energy back, which
it
doesn't feel right.
And it's like, I guess the point of energy is that every single energy character has a way to get energy back, but why not just make it so that that ability has a longer cooldown? And if you hit the ability, it's a shorter cooldown. Like, it doesn't need to. It just feels like it's the exact same thing as It's just like, as you said, it's just 2 cooldown bars. It's very strange.
Yeah. So okay, if we went the full rework route, I think it'd be really like interesting if his ultimate was just instant.
Yeah.
Like, how dope would that be if it was just like, click ally, I'm there.
It'd have to not have a shield on it, or a very small shield.
Yeah, no, the shield would have to go way down, but I think that could be super hype. And then if they did that, they could go about like making his other stuff more interesting, I think. But fuck, yeah, I'm just trying to think of like what else he could do, but his kit's just so good as it is.
I think if I went full rework, I'd probably make him more towards a support character, which I know goes against a lot of stuff, but I think that they've already done this brawler top lane character style very, very well, that if I was going to go a rework style, I'd love to see it like more of his other abilities being like defensive abilities. Like the not taunt, but like the attack, dodge, block type thing. Like more stuff like that I would love to see, but...
Yeah, where maybe like the Q is something where it's like it marks the enemy and then your ally hitting them heals.
Yeah. Is that what his old Q used to do, or am I?
His old Q was like a point and click, throw a dagger at them, and then if you hit them, you get health regen.
Yeah.
But like they could do something kind of similar to that, but if they wanted to push him towards the support, where it's like, hey, it heals your ally more, or even if it heals you both the same, it's like you apply the healing mark on the enemy.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Awesome. Do you want to talk about Shyvana?
Yeah. Ooh, Shyvana.
Thoughts on making her a transform character?
I think that's one way to go about it. I would prefer it not be that way.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about it at one point, or maybe I was just considering it, but like I had the idea of Shyvana in my mind being more of like a perma-scaling character, where probably based on Drakes, or just like having a stacking system where Drakes are worth a lot, where you eventually just become a fucking monster.
Yeah.
Right, where it's like every minion is like 1 stack and every big monster is 3, and then like Drakes are 25 and like takedowns are 10 or something. And at a certain point, it's like, yes, I am the fucking dragon, like my burnout is huge, it's doing a bunch of damage, it's like leaving a wake of fire in my trail. Like, I think that could be super hype.
Yeah, I would love to honestly have like a mechanic where she just gets stronger based on how many Drakes have been killed by either team, even. Like that's also a cool way of doing it.
Yeah, so like currently she just gets a little bit of like, she gets armor and magic resist for every Drake her team kills, which is like a way to do it, but I don't think it's like really cool. Whereas if she if she transformed and like, I'd probably change her ultimate then. But, like, the idea is that she becomes, like, more and more of a dragon, depending on how many stacks she has.
Yeah.
And then, like, the ultimate could still be, like, the dive, and you have empowered abilities for a little while, but it's just, like, not necessarily the transform mechanic. As like, you're gonna be just transforming anyway as you get more stacks.
What are your thoughts? Like, I still like transform. I love transform characters. I think they can be very, very fucking well done. They can also be very poorly done. Thoughts on implementing a pseudo transform, the fact that so you have this mechanic where like as dragons get killed, as you farm jungle, as whatever, you become more and more like a dragon. So your ultimate turns you into a dragon where you have all these dragon abilities that are really, really strong. But as you like level up and get like more dragon kills and stuff, you can unlock these dragon abilities while you're like a person or whatever. And as you like as you get them fully evolved, you can just be dragon like 100% of the time, rather than like only having access to them when you alt, or only having access to them when they're evolved, or like whatever. It's just like this slow transformation into like from girl dragon person to full dragon.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of what I was getting towards. Is like, I think the maybe not having them up permanently, because I want them to be significantly stronger when she's in like her ultimate mode, but I see it a lot more similar to like a Renekton Nasus ult, where, you know, it's like, you know, unleash your dragon rage or whatever you want to fucking call it. But I think most of her stuff is pretty okay. Like the fact that she can do full AP is dumb. Take away her AP ratios.
Yeah.
She should be like an 80 bruiser character. And I would, again, like, want her to get a lot of health from those stacks, and maybe, like, when she ults gets more of it, and, like, have her fire, like, be based on that. Because to me, like, one of the things that is pretty synonymous with dragons in almost any lore you see is that, like, they pretty much have indefinite age and just continue to grow and grow and grow. And so to me, like, health is really the way you do that. And it's like, okay, hey, like, she's a bigger dragon now. Bigger dragon has stronger fire, right? Like, her burnout damage is based on her max health. And, like, again, maybe ultimate version, they bring back the leave a trail of fire in your wake. Because I think that as it wasn't cool. But if you get to a certain point where, like, you're a massive fucking dragon and, like, you could have that fire last for like 3 seconds base, but it's like plus 1 second for every 20 stacks or something. It's like, yeah, Shyvana just fucking ran through here. It's gonna be on fire for a while.
And to just get crazy with it, I always like just throwing out crazy things, because why not? We're just making shit up, right? Is there any world in which we could have it so that, depending on what dragons were in the game, like, see how there's 3 dragons in a game, so like fire, wind, ocean, or whatever, and then there wouldn't be a mountain in that game. Is there a world in which we could make it so that when you alt, you can choose a dragon augment that is in the game currently? Like, I think, like, once again, I don't think it has to be super impactful, but, like, wouldn't it be cool if your dragon abilities had, like, movement speed or, like, wind essence to them? If you, like, if there's been a wind dragon killed, like, you could alt and then choose wind, if there's been a wind dragon killed, or alt and choose ocean, or alt and choose fire, alt and choose mountain. I would like. I don't think that. I think the only issue with this is the elemental system might not be permanent in League of Legends.
Yeah,
but
I think
from a designer perspective, I think I want characters that ultimates are like so fucking unique. Like, when I click ultimate, not only does it use my ultimate, but it allows me to choose these different choices, and they might not be huge choices, but they feel impactful.
So I was thinking so there's one thing that I would say is probably that, like, after that dragon has died, it probably is just like an adjustment as opposed to a choice, because I just don't know how you would like quick time choose which element.
Yeah.
But where I thought you were going is that, like, you're the one that isn't present, right? So
that'd
it's
be
like
fucking
earth,
cool
fire,
too.
and
Oh
wind, like, you're the ocean dragon. That's why
the ocean
it's not
dragon
here.
rises. Oh.
Like, I'm the ocean dragon, bitch.
That would also be cool. Like, once again, like, you can't make it too impactful to the point where, like, oh, we rolled fucking wind Shyvana, we lose the game.
No, so here's my thought, where it'd be like, again, part of this stacking system where, like, at 100 stacks, your team gains ocean stack. Right? Like, it counts as a dragon kill or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe you get that if you kill an Elder Drake or something. Like, if you kill the Elder Drake, you get, like, a bonus free ocean soul if that's the one that was missing.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
That could be pretty hype. And then, like, again, if you wanted to go all the way with that, like, you could have her, like, visually transform.
Yeah, she gets some fucking ocean stank on her.
Yeah, either that, or it could just be, like, the final one. Like, the map version is, like, she turns into that one. And same thing, where it's just, like, hey, if you kill an Elder Drag, you get like one bonus of whatever that stack was.
I do like the idea of like whatever one's not present, because there always is one not present. And
no, I think that's so much more badass, where she's just like, yeah, I'm the one that wasn't here.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then sick. Her E, I'd want to see not be... Like, if you want to make it a fucking flame breath, like, all in on it, and make it more of that, and not just, like, a little fucking spit out a little line of fire, and then, like, when you're a dragon, it's still a little line of fire, but it does stupid AP damage, like...
Yeah.
Again, that's... Like, that is not what I think of when I think of dragons. I want this to be like a rumble ult, or like, sorry, a rumble Q with like 6 times the range.
Yeah.
Right, where she's just like, hey, there's this massive cone in front of Shyvana that you don't go in right now.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Do we want to talk about our second last character, which is Singed?
Yeah, he's an interesting lad.
So I don't think he's like... So he's very unique. I think there's lots of mechanics that probably shouldn't be in the game. Like, I don't think proxying should be a sought-after mechanic by Riot, I guess. But I don't know how you also, like, stop stuff like that, right?
Yeah, and I think that, to me, the biggest issue is that generally, like... I think the idea of, like, quote, proxy farming is fine... In the original sense, where it was like, hey, I'm dumpstering you so hard that I'm going to stand behind your tower, and even if you and your jungler come, I'm going to be fine. And not the, I'm 0-14, but it doesn't matter because I've been executed every time, and you have to deal with that. Like, that part sucks.
It just sucks when you go to lane and Sin's just starting behind your tower, and your choices are try to farm under your tower... last hitting, well, he gets to do that, or you chase after him and you lose all your minions and he dies and he's cool with it. Like, that's rough.
Yeah. So how do we change Singed?
He has to be still a DOT mage. I think that's pretty fucking obvious. I don't think you can ever remove poison like Trail.
No, and to me, the way you probably do it is make the poison trail his passive.
Ooh,
make it do way less damage, and just he always has a poison trail. It is always following him. That's it.
I like that a lot.
And then you could have interactions with his abilities that are like, if you hit a poison character, again, like you could make it a stacking thing where it's like if they're in the poison for like additional time, they can get up to like 3 stacks of it. And then again, maybe his sticky goop is like, if they have 3 stacks, it slows way more, or whatever, other interactions you want.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the fucking idea of his passive just being a damaging poison behind him.
Yeah, like he's
fucking cool.
He's just always fucking trailing poison. And then he like, hey, there's that off like shoot of, if you're running behind the tower, like, hey, you're gonna get hit by tower. Okay, so I think that's a really good. I think his ultimate being a mega steroid is fine. And I think as like the mad chemist, that makes sense of him just like drinking this super buff. But I think I'd want to see it more targeted, where instead of just like plus every stat, like I would think movement speed and tenacity, and then maybe also like your poison deals bonus damage for that duration.
I would love it to like fucking make him like just shoot out poison like a madman as well. Like it like makes your poison cloud behind you bigger every like couple seconds. Like for the thing, it shoots out like poison and a big AoE around you, like a puff of like cloud or whatever. Like just like shit like that. You know what I mean? Where like I don't think it needs to give you armor, magic resist, health regen, or mana regen. Even honestly, probably doesn't need to give you AP. It just needs to like make your poison stronger and maybe movement speed and tenacity. I think like you nailed it with that.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think like I want him to be more of a tank.
Yeah, I think so as well.
And not really have like a AP build. So I'd probably want his poison to have like some kind of either base it off of his health as part of the damage, or it's got like a small flat damage and does like percentage of opponent's health.
Yeah.
I probably would want it to deal a percentage of opponent's health. Cause
Like
to
current
me that,
health. Yeah.
Yeah, like, because to me that makes more sense for a poison of, like, it's just gonna, like, you know, eventually wear you down. Like, if a big guy or a small guy gets bit by a fucking, like, venomous snake, it's either enough or not.
Yeah.
So I could see it more of, like, a percentage health. I was also thinking of, like, potentially having something with that passive where he's always afflicted by the poison himself as well.
Okay.
But, like, then you'd have to put something in his kit to counteract that with, like, nutty regen, or, like, if you hit an ability, or, like, if enemies are getting hit by your poison, you get some of that back. I'm not sure. But I like the idea of him just being like, yep, I'm in the poison cloud too. We're all dealing with this.
Thoughts on, like, so he takes, like, damage when he's okay, here, this can sound crazy, Colton, but what do you think of the idea? So he, like, always, like, poisons people and always has percentage current health or whatever. He's, like, has this thing where if he hasn't been in his own poison in a couple seconds, he starts, like, losing a little bit of HP. So he's, like, almost has, like anti-poison sickness. Like, he needs the poison to, like survive.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to sometimes you have to loop back around in your own poison to, like, fucking breathe it back in. That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
and it's like health regen. So like, if you're running around in circles in your own poison, you're way tankier because you're just, like, you have better regen or whatever. But you can't just be, like, chasing people down, or else, like, that you're not going anywhere. So it's like a mix of, like, you need to run away and you need people to chase you to do damage, but you need to also be in your poison to be, like, this tanky character.
I'm totally down for that. I really like that. Cool. Like, he needs to be breathing his poison to live at this point. Is so hype. Okay, so now that we've got that fixed, I think, again, his ultimate is still, like, a steroid, and maybe it, like, also increases, like, how long the trail stays and the size of it.
Yeah.
Because I think that, like, fits into this, that, like, eventually he's trying to just, like, have this massive cloud of poison everywhere. What are we doing for his abilities? I think the adhesive toss is pretty okay as is.
It's fine.
I think that the flip and obviously the Q could get adjusted. Do you think he keeps the flip in this iteration or no?
I don't think it adds anything. I guess the only way it adds something is if throwing them into your poison helps you by any means. You know what I mean? Which I guess it, like, throws them into it, and then you can kind of run around them. But I would much rather have, like, an ability where, like, you make your poison do something, whether it's like you could say it's like some sort of, like, cancer or whatever, where it's like it makes people who are poisoned to, like, slow or have a little more, maybe not attack speed, but you know what I mean? Like, it afflicts people by some other way. Like, I would love to have that.
Okay, so here's my idea, is that you keep his W and E as they are, and you make his Q be, like, he, like, explodes his poison. So, like, it consumes the trail as is, but, like, if you're in it, it's gonna, like, damage you.
Yeah.
Right, so, like, not only is it poison, but, like, it's also flammable or whatever, and it's just, you know, hey, set your poison on fire. It's going to burn up the trail, so you can't run back into it anymore. But, like, if you just threw an enemy into it, it's going to chunk them.
Yeah, that's fucking cool.
All right, cool. That's singed. He's fixed.
That is singed. Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. I think that character could benefit from a rework completely. He's a little bit boring right now. Next and last, actually, for this week is Sion.
Your favorite character?
I think Sion's just boring is, like, my main problem with him. I think he's, like, so this is going to sound stupid. A lot of people like Sion. A lot of people like that his Q does a lot of damage. Honest to God, Colton, I think it needs to be quicker, but do less damage. Like, you only hit 2-second charged up Qs if you're in a bush and they don't know, or if you're in a chaotic team fight and they're, like, not paying attention. And that feels like it's not a good mechanic when you only hit something because they fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, so I would also add that you get to do that if you had, like, a setup, they were in a stasis, or you hit your ult. are other conditions where you get a full charge Q.
Mm-hmm.
Right, where it's like, I know LeBlanc is, or like, I know Sion is coming back to this, or hey, they're in Hourglass, so I just charge a Q.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty okay with it. Like, I see where you're coming from, but as someone who does play a good amount of Sion, I really, really like his Q that, like, you can do a half charge just to get the knock up, or you can, again, like, if you feel like you're outplaying them, like, you can hit the slow and then get, like, a 3/4 charge or something like that.
Yeah.
Or even the fact that you can...
I guess you never need to fully charge it. That's fair. I didn't think of it that way.
I think the other thing is that it's one of those abilities that can be super effective even when you miss. Where, like, if I'm standing on a ramp just charging it, like, I don't want it to be 1.5 second max charge. Like, I want to sit there for 3 seconds charging it, saying, like, hey, you come here and die, or you wait. Those are your options.
Yeah, you sold me on. I think that's fair. I also think his ultimate can't be changed at all. I think his ultimate is fucking perfect, by the way. I think it's one of the best representations of a character in the game.
So the only thing, one thing I want to say about his Q is you need to fix the hitbox, and they need to either more clearly address that the range changes as you charge, or just fix that. Because if you quick cast the Q, it only hits like the first half of the area.
Yeah, it's 500 instead of 850 range.
Yeah. Which honestly I think it should just be that area no matter what. And again, it does like no damage and doesn't have a CC if you quick cast it. Yeah. Also, the end of it is further than the icon shows. So people all the time, if you're playing against them, like, you'll get a knock up because they think they're just outside of it, which is dumb.
That's just something they should adjust. Like, they've done a good job with like a bunch of other abilities adjusting that. They just need to look at that. Yeah.
Yeah. So ultimate, I agree. I think it's amazing. The only like caveat I would add is that I feel like if it kills a champion or a tower,
I know
he keeps going, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, it's such a sick ultimate. There's no reason he shouldn't drop his shoulder and keep going through a tower or a character if he kills them.
Yeah, I don't think it actually like buffs him too much either. It's just like a funny, cool thing.
Yeah, like, how many times have you seen a Sion ult to kill tower?
Yeah,
very rarely. Because if you do, it's going to be a tower that's got its like super resist because there's no minions by it. Aside from that, like, his W I think is really good and fits his trading pattern well. His E I'm not super attached to. Like, it works really well with his trading pattern because like it allows you to get into range.
I don't understand why it reduces armor. That doesn't make sense to me personally.
No. Yeah, there's no reason it should.
It feels like it's only in his kit to set up for Qs, or else your Q doesn't like really hit in lane.
Yeah, and that's fine though also, I think. Like, to just like, hey, this ability enables your combo. What do we think about the passive?
So I'm not a big fan of the fact that killing him means he has pseudo CC on your team for his entire health bar again, because you have to deal with him punching your AD carry in the mouth for a lot of damage. I would rather his passive thing work like he doesn't fucking do crazy damage, but like maybe he applies like a debuff or decay or some sort of mechanic on people that he hits where like he decays them and they're weaker and they're more susceptible to damage, rather than him himself just fucking clapping your AD carry's cheeks after you killed their tank, who was impossible to kill. Like, it feels very frustrating, I think.
I think honestly, just scrap the fucking comeback mechanic entirely. Mainly because I'm fine with it in its intended use, but when people use it to like steal 2 jungle camps or like get 1.5 tower plates, that's fucking dumb. And as someone who's played a lot of Sion, like, if you lose an early game fight, you then just get to sit there and like shove 1 to 2 waves while they can't come back because you'll just like one hit them. Like, that part's fucking dumb.
So I have this idea, and I think it's not good for the game, but I like the idea where when you die, you can't do damage, but you can just run and grab onto someone. And it's like, you know, Rel, when you're in Rel, you can kind of like move out of it, but like kind of slowly, and you're like, she's like pulling you in. I like the idea of your AD carry having to drag the Sion on him, because he's like latched on with his dead body. So like he can like almost like latch on and like try to pull like a character, but he can't do any damage. But he's like has like this very strong slow or something. Like I even like that a little bit more, where it's like he's this undying thing where like he's dead, but he's gonna try to bring the fucking AD carry with him, or like whoever he wants with him. Like that would be cool. I just hate the fucking my AD carry now has to. We just killed their 4,000 health, 300 armor Sion, but now my AD carry has to kite him for 4 seconds after he died.
Yeah, I think that's one way to do it. I'm also thinking like you could probably go about giving him like a 2 health bar system.
Okay.
Kind of like Kled, where it's like there's Sion with like full armor, like everything, and then there's like, you know, exposed low HP Sion. And you could maybe just have it be like his, you know, ratios are down when he's small, or that like his Q has like a smaller radius, or, you know, a lot of ways you could go about it. But I think that's one way you could do it.
Yeah, you could have like your Sion where like, yeah, he might not even have his like fucking axe anymore or whatever. Like he like punches sort of thing instead, when he's like, he has like he loses all of his fucking like, not all, like he loses a lot of his magic resistant armor. He loses access to his Q. But he can still like use his like his roar. He can still use his like W and stuff. He could use his ultimate if he wanted, but like he can't, like he's not a threat anymore. He's just kind of like a big meat shield until he like recalls or dies. I think that's a cool way of doing it.
Yeah, I don't know if I like, because like recalls or dies, like I would want him to be able to get it back off of like health at like a certain point of health, or like hit the enemy enough times, but I don't know how exactly you do that.
Yeah. I honestly like the idea of like him just being like a weaker big health tank in his second health bar. That's cool to me. I really don't think he needs to have access to like his Q and stuff. Just make him like a big nerfed version of himself. Like you can still just run at people and like be a threat, but I don't know. That's not bad.
I would think maybe at that point it's like if he drops the axe, his auto attacks probably do a little bit more damage than.
Yeah, for sure. Like he could even have his like passive like attack speed and stuff. Like I think that's fine.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you go into small form, like you lose your axe, you lose your Q. Your Q is now just a passive where it's like you punch real good, and then it's like maybe if you get a takedown, or if you get, you know, your health back, or you have to hit an enemy, you know, 5 times or whatever to become Big Sion again. And I think unlike Kled, you don't give the fucking invulnerable dismount remount, and you don't give him a shit ton of health back when he becomes Big Sion again.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's good either. But I do like the 2 health bar system rather than the revive and just try to fuck shit up before I actually die like system. Yeah, I think that's good. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so that's Sion, I guess. Next week we got. We
got a bunch of characters next month, but to wrap up this show, so that was our ZED Talks. We're talking about the first 9 S characters. Next week, we'll be talking about the other 8, which are Sivir, Skarner, Sona, Soraka, Swain, Silas, and Syndra. We'll have to get Nick on cast because we're going to be talking about Swain, and Nick thinks that character is perfect, and we'll try to shut him down a little bit.
Swain's interesting.
Yeah, I think Swain has problems, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you guys next month. Bye.
Bye.